Okay, think of it like this. Paper currency is supported by the government. Stocks are supported by the companies that they belong to. Real estate is physical land that can be used. Gold is backed by nothing. It has no intrinsic value. All it does is end up looking pretty in a vault somewhere. Gold has no functional use. It can't be eaten, and for most people, it is just sitting around looking good. So, if every country in the world hoards this stuff as if it were the most valuable resource in the universe, what makes this metal unique enough that the human race has been dreaming of it for over 5,000 years? In this video, I'm going to explain to you the crazy psychology of gold and the hidden reasons that gold will likely not lose value, and why that's insane when you consider it. Chapter 1. The practical value of gold is non-existent. First things first, what do we use gold for? The simple answer is not much. It's a good conductor of electricity, so it's used in certain types of electronics. It doesn't rust, corrode, which allows a few dentists to use it for fillings. It can be made into jewelry. Other than that, there's really no practicality to gold. You cannot use it for construction. If you had a pile of gold bars and the world suddenly collapsed, it would be worthless compared to food, water, or tools. Gold does not have the same kind of value as oil, steel, land, etc. Oil is used to fuel cars and create plastic. Steel is used to construct buildings and machinery. Land can be used to grow food and provide shelter. Gold just sits there, being shiny. In fact, the vast majority of gold that has ever been mined, approximately 200,000 metric tons worth of it, currently sits in vaults, doing nothing. It is not being put to any productive use by banks, governments, or wealthy individuals. It's crazy to think that we mine minerals like this from the earth, separate them from other minerals, and then bury them back into a whole different part of the earth. All we're doing is moving rocks around. Yet today, a rock that's worth over $2,000 an ounce, one brick of gold is worth more than most people earn in a month. If these types of rocks are a waste of time, why do they have so much value? That's the interesting part. Chapter 2. Gold has always enticed humans. The truth is that the value of gold is not new. For literally thousands of years, this has been the case. Ancient Egypt used tons of gold to bury their pharaohs. Because they thought it was the flesh of the gods, gold was used to cover everything, including the pyramids and the death masks. Rome in antiquity, they used gold coins as money. Control of gold mines led to the rise and fall of empires. For the sole purpose of stealing their gold, the Spanish overran entire South American civilizations. Millions of people were killed as a result. Whoever owned the gold had the power throughout history. It was the quintessential representation of riches and prestige. The crazy thing is that gold wasn't particularly helpful for daily living even in those days. Gold was not necessary for ancient humans to survive. They required tools, food, water, and shelter. But still, they want gold. Why? Because it was beautiful, uncommon, and impervious to rust and deterioration. Gold would appear precisely the same if it were buried for 1,000 years and then dug up. They corroded other metals. The silver corroded. The iron corroded. However, gold remained flawless indefinitely. Thus, it began to represent strength and permanence. Kings donned gold crowns to demonstrate their superiority over common people, not because gold was beneficial. It has to do with status. Chapter 3. Gold is rare, but not too rare. Alright. So, scarcity is a major factor in why gold maintains its value. Not much of it exists. A cube that is roughly 70 feet on each side would contain all of the gold that has ever been extracted throughout human history. That's all. There is no more gold in the world than that. We're not discovering much more either. It is quite difficult to mine gold. Tiny amounts require you to sift through heaps of rock. The easy gold is already mostly gone. Because there is a limited quantity, value rises. I mean, basic economics, right? The brilliant aspect though is that gold isn't that hard to obtain. It's common enough that individuals can actually own it, yet unusual enough to be valued. No one could use gold as currency or a store of value if it were as scarce as, instance, a radioactive material that only occurs in trace amounts. Not enough would be available for everyone. However, gold strikes the ideal balance. It's common enough that people have been able to mine, trade, and use it as money throughout history, but rare enough that you can't just go pick it up off the ground. It also has long-lasting properties. A gold coin made 2,000 years ago is still gold today. You can melt and rearrange it, but it never disappears or degrades. Compare this to paper money, which tears and wears out. Even digital cash can be erased or hacked. Gold is both physical and permanent. You can keep it. You can see it, it cannot just vanish. That combination, unusual but not too rare, durable, physical, and permanent, makes gold ideal as a store of value. Chapter 4. It's all about trust. Okay, here's where we get to the true reason gold remains valuable: trust, or rather, a lack of trust. Modern money works because we trust the government. The dollar is only paper. It's only worth something because the US government says it is. But what happens if you do not trust the government? What if the government prints too much money, resulting in inflation? What happens if the economy collapses? What if the country goes to war or has a revolution? Paper money can lose its value quickly. It has happened before. Just look at Zimbabwe or Venezuela. Their currencies became so worthless that people used piles of dollars as wallpaper since it was less expensive than real wallpaper. What about gold? Governments are irrelevant to gold. It is uninterested in politics. It doesn't matter who is in power or what policies are implemented. Gold is gold. It is valuable anywhere, anytime, and under any circumstances. That is why, during times of crisis, people gravitate toward gold. When the stock market fails, gold prices rise. When there is a battle, people purchase gold. When inflation soars, individuals turn their money into gold. It is a safe sanctuary. It is the one thing that governments cannot readily print or alter. Countries understand this. That is why central banks around the world maintain enormous gold holdings. The US has more than 8,000 tons. Germany possesses more than 3,000 tons. China, Russia, and India are all hoarding gold. Why? Because even if everything else fails, such as currencies collapsing or the global economy imploding, gold will remain valuable. It is insurance. Chapter 5. Everyone agrees gold is valuable, and it is. Here's a strange fact about value. Things are only worth what people agree they are. Art is only worth millions if everyone agrees on its value. Baseball cards are only valuable if collectors desire them. Money is only helpful if it is universally accepted. What about gold? Everyone agrees it is valuable. Literally everyone. You could take a gold bar to every country on earth, and people would demand it. You could travel back in time 3,000 years, and ancient civilizations would know gold's value. Gold would very likely continue to be valuable 100 years from now. That universal agreement is powerful. It is a common belief that transcends cultures, languages, countries, and time periods. So here's the truth. Gold's worth is primarily psychological. It's valuable because we think it is. That is it. There is no mystical attribute of gold that makes it worth $2,000 per ounce. We just determined that it is. And you know what? That is okay. Because this is how value works in practically every situation. Money is valuable because we all agree it is. Art is valuable because we all agree it is. Even stocks are valued because we all believe firms are worthwhile. Value is always a common belief. Always. Kingdoms have arisen and fallen. Currencies came and went. Technologies have been invented, then forgotten. But, through it all, gold remained precious. When you purchase gold, you are betting that the 5,000-year trend will continue. And honestly, that's a rather safe bet. If this has changed your perspective on gold and value, click the like button. Subscribe for more in-depth looks at money, economics, and why the world works the way it does. Comment below. Do you think gold will still be valued in 100 years? Or will something else replace it? See you at the next one.